I like how you guys hid the logo on your cans.
Yeah, we intentionally turned them.
So let me ask you guys.
Until he's gonna pay us those royalties. Yeah, no.
No free advertisement.
Yeah.
Until just now.
That's why you noticed in all of my stuff, everything's upside down or backwards, so you can't see anything.
Hey, we're recording.
Welcome back to D5 Questing, everybody.
Why don't you give us any warning, man?
I had some very intense feedback that was like, man, you just need to hit record right before when nobody else is thinking that you're recording.
As I'm
It's
just
some good
scrolling through
stuff.
our images.
That was right when we were saying that we couldn't, or we didn't have any free advertisement for.
Then,
Yep.
like
now
the first
we
thing
have
on recording
advertisement.
is you saying
Fantastic.
Best
and saying
part
that
of
we're not
life.
giving them any.
The gamer fuel for all of us gamers, keeping my mind refreshed and my body needing to pee.
Keep my body refreshed.
I
And
am all jacked up.
Now, a word from our sponsors. This episode is brought to you by Wishes. If wishes were horses, then dreamers would ride, but they're much more like cattle. So best grab a shovel.
Fantastic.
Speaking of shovels, you guys gonna grab a shovel for the beginning of this episode? Dig some more graves.
Sure, I mean,
We'll talk about it.
Rav doesn't think we should dig any more graves.
We'll
I
talk.
forgot.
Quietly in the night.
I forgot what I said right at the end of the last episode.
No, I want to go back to something that we were talking about right before we hit record. Jake, you said everybody's got nice beards.
Uh-huh.
And I'm curious to know when the last time everybody shaved was.
Yesterday.
A few months ago.
A full shave?
Just like took any sort of full shave.
A full shave? Oh, that's for a long time ago.
Last
Right,
time I was
then-
clean shaven was November 1st, 2019.
I was about to say,
So you're coming up on a year then?
Mine's been about a year.
Except
Yeah.
for I did trim it back, you know.
Yeah, I've trimmed my beard, but since I was clean shaven, it's been about a full year.
yeah, shoot, everybody was actually clean faced when we did our first recording.
I don't think I was clean
Anyway.
phased.
Yeah,
No.
no, you were pretty close though.
So my normal, just so all of our listeners know, my normal is just like a goatee, a pretty short goatee,
Yeah.
Like what
And-
John's got going on?
and I have not shaved since February. Not trimmed, nothing. So
That doesn't look that good then.
If I did that, it would look like just a bunch of wispy hairs everywhere.
anyway, so yeah, this is the longest my facial hair's ever been, and I pulled it all off to the side, and so like you could really see where my chin actually is, and I showed my wife, and she covered her face, and she was like, "Oh no, that looks so weird. I have to get used to you like where your chin normally should be." So whenever I shave, like it looks like I have no lower jaw when I do that. It's kind
Don't worry, Jake. My your clean shaven face is forever burned into my mind.
Oh, good. That's usually not what people remember about my face, so I feel good about that.
It's your eyes, huh?
It is. It
It's
is.
your eyes. I don't know you hide behind those glasses.
Oh, they're sparkly.
I wore contacts last time.
Okay, well,
What?
let's have a recap here.
Go back to D5
Oh.
questing, everybody.
Yeah, and let's learn more about the questers.
Last week's episode, we talked to the wives of the men that we murdered or
Little girl talk.
killed.
Yeah,
know,
we did not murder
and-
them. They came at us first.
True, we defended ourselves against them.
There we go.
Then kind of did little funeral services for them and invited them to, come along with us to Prapa. And we are at a lull right now where we're just kind of sleeping. I mean, that whole entire episode pretty much covered, let's say, 3 hours.
Speaking of covering 3 hours, can you move a little closer to your microphone?
Yeah, I'm sorry.
Ha.
Appreciate that.
How's that?
Good. Thank you. No, well done. Now that we can hear you, say all of it again.
So
I'm
last week
I'm just
we
So, so you guys continue on your journey.
No.
Oh, sorry. That's right. I'm sorry. You guys continue on your journey of setting up camp that night, and getting things all situated. And you have you go to sleep, set up your watch, and first watch nothing happens. Second watch is
Good old Torvo.
Can you guys hear the diligent paper turning?
Second
Yes.
watch is Mordax.
Second watch is Mordax. Third watch is good old Torvo. Fourth watch is
That's right.
however we did it.
Le Champion.
So yeah, nothing happens that night. Mordax probably sneaks over to the widows and creepily looks over them as they're sleeping.
where did you get off?
Where did you get off, sir?
Can Mordax have his character sheet back now?
Just flavor.
No, that's not flavor.
That's a lot
vile.
of flavor.
That's vile.
No, I was like, who haven't I razzed for a minute? And your name came out of the bingo tumbler. So you go and you wake up Torvo, and Torvo
wasn't sleeping.
wasn't even sleeping.
Mhm.
And Torvo watch goes by uneventful,
Mm-hmm.
and the watch switches over to Champion to take the final watch.
Yep. And then I just move off to the side, and I'm still awake, just staring off.
Champion comes over to Torvo. Hey, you all right, man? What's going on?
I'm not sure. This is odd.
What are you talking about?
I'm not sure what I'm supposed to feel here. When I tried to help those two, I didn't say the right things, and I know I didn't. And over the last little bit, all of this just doesn't make any sense to me. I'm not sure how I'm supposed to feel about it. And it goes against everything that I've learned.
Well, maybe you should try and stick close to the teachings that you have been taught and use them as a compass.
And that's the problem. Everything that I just did goes against everything that I was supposed to do. I've ruined the name of my monastery by using what I've learned to hurt those who are in a lesser circumstance. They had no choice in what they were doing, but I did. And I chose to end their lives when I didn't have to. And this idea of helping others, it's odd. And I don't know. I don't understand how that works. I knew that with Rav, when he was feeling bad, I knew I had to make him feel better. But I had nothing to say. And with these people, I felt like I had something to say, but I didn't say anything right.
It takes practice. I'm not even great at it. But, you've been raised to be kind of solo. And, I mean, I have to be solo now, which is what I was out here doing originally. And then I found you guys. But being part of a team, you gotta learn to read each other.
When people speak of comfort, are they discussing helping one another?
Sometimes.
I don't understand that. In the monastery, nobody ever gave me moments of comfort that they were speaking of. It was always just seen that if you couldn't complete your task, then you needed to do better. And that included emotions.
That's just part of your training. Don't fault yourself for that.
Well, I'm still confused. Thank you for your words of wisdom. I'm gonna have to think about this.
It's okay. We can have more conversations about this. We can help you. It's just learning how to read people and how to understand situations.
There you go. So I just spend the rest of the night. I get no sleep. I'm willing to take the negatives for that.
Well, in that case, everybody wakes up, roll initiative. Let's kill Torvo right now.
Torvo's just gone mad because he didn't get to sleep.
Yes. He is going mad as in crazy, and he is upset.
It's murder time.
I'm not actually going into initiative.
Rev rolled a 21. Let's do this.
So you guys, go through your shifts, and the night passes uneventfully. And everybody just kind of slept terrible as far as the NPCs involved in this camp. I don't want to overstep my bounds and speak for everybody.
I think I slept fine.
Slept like a baby. Went back to that grave, dug it up, looted the bodies.
I didn't do that.
But the night passes by just fine, and you guys continue your journey. The first day afterwards that you guys are walking towards Prapa is trying and taxing. There's, you guys had...
Why? Because they're slow?
No, emotionally.
Oh,
It's a little awkward for them to walk with us still.
oh my goodness.
Yeah, like, you guys, it's been a day. It's been a day. Come on, let's get over it.
That's what I'm thinking. That's what Torvo,
Hey,
Torvo thinks like we've dealt with the conclusion. Why are you still feeling things about this?
and me as Mordax, I'm like, hey, at least I didn't kill one of their husbands.
Jeez.
So it's still emotionally trying and emotionally taxing, socially trying and socially taxing. And but you find out that the two widows' names are Vathra. Write that down.
Vathra with a V?
Yes,
As in Victor?
as in Vathra.
As in Vathra.
Vathra. And she is the widow of the one that Champ killed.
Sweet.
The one that's like, take me to my husband. The outspoken.
Strong-willed.
Yeah. And then Briar was the other one whose husband was killed by that terrible freak lightning storm.
It's a masculine name.
Briar?
Yeah, I'm with it. It's cool. Hardy.
Like
Really?
Briar?
Like Briar Rose?
Yeah. Like
Copyright.
Like Sleepy Beauty.
Yeah.
Copyright.
It's cool.
Yeah. Her name's Victoria. Her name's Sue Ellen.
I'm not knocking it.
DW.
Oh, no, I was
He's
just trying to spell it out.
Briar.
A-R.
I went Bryer.
Well, that's why it's masculine. You guys are just outside of Prapa, maybe 2 days or so, and you've been traveling with these NPCs for a few days, and like I said, you get to know them a little bit better. Friend would be kind of a strange word to put on it.
Acquaintances.
Some might say acquaintances.
Yeah.
I can think of two people that definitely would. But you get to know them a little bit better. As you guys are ending this particular day of travel, you come to a meadow, and as you guys continue to walk towards Prapa, you see that the forest is slowly becoming more and more like the forest that you remember it being. There's still a lot of damage, but the farther away that you get from the epicenter, the less damage there is. So it's starting to get more green and things like this. It's rained for a couple of the days that you guys have been traveling, and so there's not nearly as much smoke and dust in the air and around. But you guys come across this meadow, and you decide to camp on the outskirts of this meadow, and dusk is starting to fall, and as you look out across this meadow, you see little lightning bugs. Is that what you guys call them? Lightning bugs?
Sure.
You know, is that the right word for it? Lightning bug?
Yeah, you can say lightning bug. You can say firefly.
Firefly was the other one that I was
You
thinking.
call them lightning bugs.
My eyes.
It's your world.
You're
You
the
see
creator.
You see light fairies.
We find out there's some hardcore
Demonic.
insect out there that's called a lightning bug.
They carry around lightning beads.
So when one lands on you and you smack it, then it like
Blow your arm off.
1d12 damage. Okay.
So you come across this meadow, and dusk is setting, and you guys get camp set up pretty quickly, and people are sitting around the campfire, but you keep it kind of low because you're enjoying watching the little flicker of lightning bugs out across this meadow, and as people are about ready to start turning in for the night, then you see from the one side a herd of elk just kind of charge across the meadow, as a herd, and that stirs up all of these lightning bugs that were previously undisturbed, and it creates this effect where it's almost like the stars from the sky are coming down and hovering above this meadow, and it kind of triggers this outward pulse effect where all the lightning bugs are getting excited, and the lightning bugs start flying around you guys, and the fires burn down sufficiently that it really does look like you're just surrounded by stars, and it's an incredible sight.
How far out is that elk?
Herd of elk.
Oh, how far out?
You can probably look in 100 yards or 50 yards, 50 to 100 yards.
Do we need meat?
I mean, we have been traveling for a couple days.
Cool. I pull out my crossbow. Rode in this beautiful moment.
These darn bugs get out of my way. They're clear shot.
There's good protein in these insects, so you guys can eat those too.
Ugh.
These darn
Grab
bugs
up
to
and
get out
grab
of the
one in
way.
his mouth.
I don't know. Anything that glows like that can't be good for you.
So
I
you
smile as I have like 3 in my mouth already.
You see Briar start to laugh at that. She thinks it's funny, and she grabs a couple and tries to eat them, but they're nasty. Protein, sure. Nasty, absolutely. And she chokes on it a little bit, and she sees that she's got glow on her hands, and she laughs at that, and she looks up and smiles, and her teeth are all glowy and gross with bug guts too.
Rav picks a couple of
classic
berries off
Briar.
of shambles and hands the berries to everyone that ate the insects.
Cool.
Just to kind of get the taste out of your mouth.
Yeah.
I raise my crossbow and take aim at fire.
Okay, go ahead and make a survival.
Survival?
Yeah.
Okay,
Or dexterity.
There goes
I don't know.
Pegasus.
Never been hunting before.
that's fine.
Reed and H, you guys have been hunting. I guess John too.
Yeah.
I've never been hunting before.
24.
Is it a survival check when you go hunting, or is it a?
I mean, if you're pumped up on adrenaline, then yeah, sure.
I would say survival over nature.
Yeah.
Well, what about just a regular attack with a crossbow?
I'm just attacking him.
You
All
could
right.
do a regular attack. I mean, it's the same. It's fine.
Okay. All right, regular attack.
Okay,
Whichever
26.
one's lower.
26. All right, yeah. So your crossbow bolt, which is covered with that special stuff
Yep.
from the caves,
That's the only bolts I got.
sails through this sea of stars,
Uh-huh.
and it as you're watching it, then it hits a couple bugs, and you can very quickly it gets lit up by just bug guts.
Uh-huh.
And so you watch it as it finally strikes the one of the elk in the herd.
Is it, as it's going through the bugs, is it just exploding them in this
Yeah.
almost firework-esque?
Yeah, it's just small.
Whoa.
But it makes the crossbow bolt look like a tracer round, you know, and so it goes and sails and strikes one of the elk,
Excellent.
Right in the rear, right?
and
Right in the heart.
and kills it
Yeah.
right between the eyes.
No, that's not a good move. But cool. All right.
Okay. And you guys collect some elk meat.
Cool.
But
Rav's
yeah,
going to walk over to the elk upon Torvo slaying it, and he's going to do a little thank you for giving your life for us to have our lives continue. You know,
Is my
little-
bolt? Oh, sorry.
No, it's fine.
Is my bolt retrievable?
as Rav is saying this, you know,
Yeah,
prayer
he's
of
saying
gratitude,
something kind, and I'm just like
then you
pulling my bolt out.
Yeah, you push him off to the side, and you're like,
I didn't push him to the side. Just while he's doing it, I just am like, yeah, good for you, but you know the bolt's important.
Get off your high horse. We all know your sister's missing. Quit being sad about that.
Wow.
No, Rav's being the druid right now that, you know, all life is precious type
Horrible.
thing.
No, I appreciate what you're doing, Rav.
Does my bolt? Does my bolt have a
It comes out.
the coating stuff?
It comes out just fine. But the coating of that acid type
Okay.
stuff has come off inside the deer,
Okay.
and so you'll have to cut that section out, and it just
Cool.
isn't as good.
Thank goodness
Or
it was
from
just the art.
And from the elk, you get apparently 2 rations.
How many rations did I get?
4,
Yes.
and that's all that came off.
Rav wants to get the skin and the antlers. Start
If there
doing his
are
tan.
antlers, he didn't say if
it was a
male or
bull.
female.
No, if there is, then Rav would like them.
Yeah, you know what? Go for it.
Fantastic.
Go for it.
Rav is over encumbered.
Not yet.
Okay. So you guys
There's a will.
pass
There's a way.
that night, and as you guys have approached Prapa and gotten closer to Prapa, then you see more and more people going in that direction of Prapa. More refugees going that direction.
Champ's gonna speak up before we get to Prapa. Listen, I know that you don't have much. Please come with me when we get into Prapa. We'll go to the Temple of Kohita and we'll help you get started here in Prapa.
I appreciate that, and although Kolhita isn't our god, we appreciate the kind thoughts.
Swiatlo is next to Kohita in the city, and so we'll help you get some stuff from Kohita, and we'll get you settled over in Swiatlo.
I appreciate it, and you see that shoot, I forgot her name. Kesta was the one that speaks up and you know kind of speaks for the group and is grateful for it. So I'm sure that throughout this journey, you guys have talked more about Prapa, and those that have been to Prapa and maybe you know grown up in Prapa have kind of explained what Prapa is. And how it's laid out. So I wrote a little history about Prapa that I'm going to read so everybody is on the same page. And this is kind of what everybody gathers and understands about Prapa. But Champion and Mordax know other things about Prapa that other people don't because of them just growing up there. So, yeah. You guys come into view of Prapa in the late afternoon and see this. Prapa started as a small settlement that quickly grew into a regional capital. This coastal city lies at the northern point of Toadstool Bay. Prapa has been called an intermediary city between 2 frontiers. To the west lie the forests that share the same name, Prapa, and to the east lie the contested lands in the foothills of the Rura Mountains. This bastion of both religions and races serves as a common ground for all beliefs and creeds. The city of approximately 20,000 souls is governed by only 21. These 21 beings are known as the High Council of Prapa. The High Council holds nominations annually to determine its members. 10 of the council's members come from each branch of the partisans. Each branch has their own way of holding elections. For example, the oldest member of the wealthiest family is who serves as the representative for the Cherubins, worshippers of the god of wealth, prosperity, and worldly goods. Conversely, the Akhotans, worshippers of the god of wisdom, truth, and knowledge, have their own panel tasked with determining the wisest among their followers to speak on their behalf. The 11th seat on the High Council belongs to the representative of the Tarragons. The remaining 10 seats are chosen via raffle. Anyone can buy a raffle ticket for anyone for the price of 1 gold piece per ticket. The current cycle of nominations is coming to a close, and a new year for the High Council leaders is at hand. Prapa has 3 walled sections. The oldest section appears to be on the outside. The oldest section appears to be on the outside of the rest of the city. This district is known as Old Town and is the coastal section of land where the original city of Prapa was erected by its original settlers. The wall to the north of this section is maintained primarily for historical reasons, as the larger exterior wall provides more protection from threats, as it is both newer and stronger. The smallest walled section of Prapa holds the High Council chambers, its members, and their residences. A few other servants take up residence here. There are 2 circular structures in this section. The smaller of the 2, known simply as the Council Chamber, is where most of the meetings of the High Council takes place. It has room for all 21 members of the High Council and standing room for between 50 and 100 spectators. The larger of the 2, known as the Grand Council Theater, or the Grand Council Chamber, is used only for the largest of cases and events. This structure is open to the elements and is used sparingly. Its inner chamber is set up similarly to the small circular structure in the High Council chambers. The Grand Council Theater has a setup similar to the Grand Council Chamber, but can hold up to 1,000 spectators. The last of the walled sections, and by far the largest, is where Prapa City flourishes. The wall surrounding this section was completed in the last 50 years. It was built in an effort to encircle the majority of the citizens and keep them safe while still allowing for some growth. The growth of the city in the last 50 years quickly took the room set aside for that, and now there are very few places for new citizens inside the safety of the walls. It was at this point that the High Council's meeting location was moved as well to its current place higher on the hill. Throughout the city, members from each religion are easily seen roaming the streets and going about their daily business. Following the main roads from the western gate to the eastern gate will show visitors a vast amount of people set up to sell their wares. Although there are 2 trade districts, it really is a trade line broken only by the city center, a large circular area at the middle of the route west to east. The further away from the trade districts that one goes, the more residential of areas they will find themselves in. Although each religion was not assigned a section of the city to reside, there are certainly unofficial districts partial to each religion. These districts are located surrounding each of the religion's temples. The followers of the goddess Suyatlo have set up a vast city garden and orchard that they maintain as a tribute to their deity. This land is surprisingly fertile and provides a bounteous harvest each year. The followers of Igwe and Shiroba have set up residence in the upper tier of the city, either through deceit or flat out having enough money to buy those plots of the land. In an effort to stay close to the sea, the followers of Tineus have claimed the majority of Old Town as their place of residence. The Tarragons, however, do not have a temple in the city, but maintain multiple shrines throughout. These shrines may be difficult for those unfamiliar with dragon worship to see, but for Tarragons, they are quite easily recognized. A powerful storm recently ravaged Prapa. The citizens of this region have seen large hurricane-like storms before, but never has anyone seen the flurry of dust and smoke that tore through the city. What's more is this storm came from the west and not from the sea like most of their other large storms. Mere days after the storm blew through is when the first of the refugees from the west arrived. What started as a small trickle quickly turned into a cascade. Unsure of when the influx of refugees would end, the High Council voted to close the gates to the city, preventing non-citizens from entering. The refugees continued to come and camp at the gates. Over the 2 weeks since this storm, the refugees have created 2 small slum-like villages, one at the gate to the city on each side. The shanty towns are a sore sight indeed, and the growing crowd of refugees is growing restless. Along with the refugees, this fiery storm has blown in 4 rather unique questers into town. So if you go to your PDF that I sent out last week, then you can see the city of Prapa hastily drawn into the dirt by one of the 2 people that grew up in Prapa, I'd imagine. Just a brief little sketch, page 12 on that PDF. And page 13 shows where the different districts lie. And so you can see Proper High Council, CC stands for City Center, Gardens, etc. So you guys can kind of look through that. And then the last, or page 14 in that PDF shows where the different temples to the 10 deities lie. You also will recognize there's one that says the Hanover Residence, which is where you guys know Henry Hanover lives. It's the largest residence in the city. Any questions about Prapa before we continue on?
Nope.
So, Champion and Mordax know that when the city gates are closed, it's not usually a huge deal, but in an effort to maintain security, then they issue papers or a pass to anybody that lives in the city that wants to leave the city. And so you know that in order to get into the city, you need the most current version of the papers. And that's only if the city gates are closed. And so in this particular case. And so you would imagine that if the city gates are closed, like how I just told you, that you would need the current papers to re-enter the city without any hindrance.
Do I have the current papers?
You do not, because when you left, the city gates were open.
Hey, I left before they were closed, but I'm a champion for Colita.
Well, before we get close enough to the city, I'm gonna say, everyone, I'm gonna wear a hood from this point on, and I'm gonna talk like this, so people can't really recognize my voice.
Weird.
Prapa and I have a history.
Is there something we need to know to make sure we don't get you in trouble here?
You can refer to me as Mordax, and that's fine. They don't know me as Mordax.
How do they know you?
Let's just say if I get recognized in this area, there may be some assassins coming for me.
We can change your face with acid.
I think the hood and I'll have a covering over my face too. I think that should do just fine.
Just saying. Just saying.
And but we can make for the gates if we want to. But if we can't get in that way, I do know several other ways of getting into the city.
You talking about those tunnels?
more or less.
I mean, I've heard of them. I don't know where any are, but all right.
Okay.
So yeah, Champion knows that the tunnels to which Mordax is referring to, nobody goes down there. Like not
Right,
even
right.
not even the guards.
Let's keep it that way.
So you guys approach the gates.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
As you approach the gates, you see just really how desolate the people living on the outside of the walls really are. It is very slum-like shanty town that the refugees have made. Very few real structures have been erected outside the city gates. The shelters are mostly made from like tarps, corrugated aluminum, cardboard, that type of look. And it's starting to stink. This side, as you can see, the structures to the west of Prapa, Prapa's western gate, you'd imagine this side shows a population of about 1,500 people, maybe a little bit more. As you guys continue as you guys continue up through the city, then a number of NPCs try and stop you, and or at least they're like, "You're wasting your time going that way." Yeah, you're wasting your time. They don't let anybody through without papers. Things like that.
How high are the walls?
How high are regular walls?
Like city walls?
Yeah.
Well, it just depends on how long it's been established.
So
I wouldn't put most over 10 feet, that's why.
double it and then double it again, and then come back with a reasonable number.
120 feet tall.
They're giant attacks?
They might. They very well might be.
Bossing say levels.
No, they've made these walls. I was imagining 25 to 30 feet tall.
Holy crap.
Because this is a very well established city.
Right.
Easy enough to scale.
Yep.
And so they've made these city walls. They've wanted to create it as a protection because they finished the walls like 50 years ago.
Gotcha.
Right, and so they're still pretty new walls, and so they're like, you know what? It's going to be a while before we revamp the city again, so let's do it right this first time. The scale on this map is 1 inch equals about a half a mile. I didn't draw the towers everywhere that they are, but you can assume that they're going to be towers, guard towers, throughout the entire wall.
Sure.
And so it's not like, wait, there's 3 inches between these two towers.
So I mean, it's well manned and maintained.
Yeah. Especially right now where the refugees are creating this issue. Those that are familiar with Prapa see that the city guard has been increased a little bit.
Okay.
One of the people that you see has a wheelbarrow with 1 or 2 bodies in it, just dead bodies, and he's got a shovel as well. You can imagine him as being like the caretaker at the cemetery, at the graveyard, and he's just doing his job. But you do take note of him as well. Yeah, maybe I should have had you guys roll perception checks for all this information.
Well, you gave it to us for free, so ha.
Free information is wonderful.
Yeah, word.
I'm just gonna talk to the group if I say it. They may give us some trouble. I didn't get one of the papers before I left. The gate was open. But we can go see if they'll let us in.
Are we wanting to, if we can't get in, are we wanting to scale the walls?
I would not advise that. I think that's a very bad idea. They've got guard everywhere.
Like I said, I know a way in.
Okay.
As soon as we're in, we're fine.
Well, do we need to
We can just, wait the night outside and then go in the gate.
No.
Isn't the gate closed?
Yeah, explain your thought, Rav.
Well, we could wait for daylight.
It's late afternoon right now, so the gates are closed during,
for a
during
reason?
the day as well.
Checkpoint level.
Yeah, they're not letting people through unless you have the right paperwork to get through.
Oh, okay, so it's not a nighttime thing. Okay.
Correct. Yeah, they don't know the right. Usually during the night in Prapa, they close the gates and then they open it during the day. But right now, because of this refugee pandemic that's going on, then they're keeping everybody out. Just because the growth over the last 50 years, it grew too much, and there's just not room for people in the city.
Right.
And so the High Council voted to keep the gates closed until they figure out what to do. So like you can still go through if you have the right papers to get through.
Right. Gotcha.
Uh,
Okay.
Like how Champ is saying, he might be able to throw his weight around and be like, yeah, I'm a champion of Kolhaita. Let me through. This is my party. So,
Okay. Go with champion.
To the gate.
okay. And remember, you've got some NPCs with you as well.
Yep.
Okay. I guess we didn't decide if you guys were going to kill him in the middle of that first night, huh? I guess you didn't.
Must
Nope.
like to kill you in the morning.
I mean, I guess you could try it right now.
Mordax seemed cool, so I mean we're good.
Okay. So as you approach the front gates, then one of the guards is like, "Oi, stop there!
I'm a champion for Kohita.
I'm
We
a
need to get through.
I'm a champion for Kolhaita indeed. I bet you are." And he kind of like, elbows the other guard that's there. Like, "You get a load of this guy. You're a champion of Kolhaita."
I flash my symbols at them.
Yeah. Symbols. Wait a minute. I recognize you. Yeah, you're that little altar boy, aren't you? Ha! Yeah, you're not a champion of Kolhaita. You're just an altar boy.
I was.
Is that what he's been telling you folks? Is that he's a champion? He's no more a champion than I'm the captain of the guard.
All right. Well, I guess I'm using my focus points. I'm not gonna hit anyone, but I'm pointing my sword into the sky, and I'm gonna use my sunblade.
Okay. Roll a performance check on this.
Yeah, don't you have to draw your blade for that?
Yeah,
Doing.
that's what I'm doing.
Would you be doing it all flourishing and stuff? I mean, I just worry about like that.
Well, my symbols are on my blade too for Kohita.
Yeah.
I'm not threatening at all. I'm not pulling out and threatening at all.
Right.
And the guards are on the others. They're on the inside of the gate as well.
Oh,
So like they can see me, but
Yeah, they can see you, but they're like up to this point. Then they've just been kind of like,
Who's this guy?
all
yeah.
right.
You think you're something special. We all think we're something special. Yeah, my mom says I'm special too.
Let me use a hero point. All right. Come on,
Can I
come
help
on.
him in his performance check?
How would you help him?
you
I know.
do the flashy hands.
Okay,
Around-
16 on performance.
Look at this guy, magician. Okay, all right, Mr. Magician. How about what's your name, Mr. Magician?
You know me as the altar boy. I am a champion. You can ask.
All right, Mr. Champion. Air quotes. How about this? How about we go and talk with the priestess at the temple? I'll go personally and do that, and you come back in the morning and we'll see if we'll let you in. And kind of like waves you off.
Do I recognize any of these guards?
Um,
I mean, I can
roll
roll
perception check.
14.
You don't recognize them specifically. Yeah, I mean you might have seen them from before, but nobody that you would be like, yeah, I know that guy. I know that guy. That guy's a douche.
I look back at the party and this is gonna take too long. Mordax, you said you know a way in.
I was wondering if I recognized any of these guys that I could from the thieves guild, if I could do some thieves can't.
No, yeah, you don't. If they're members of the Thieves Guild, are we back recording now?
Sure.
Okay, yeah, if they're members of the Thieves Guild, then you wouldn't recognize them. They'd be new people.
Gotcha.
All right. Well, I don't know. I guess we should stay, wait it out.
We'll want to wait until the cover of night anyway before we go in my way.
You're starting to sound more and more shady, man.
I have a dark history here.
Okay. So Vathra comes up to you, champ, as you guys are kind of walking away from the gate, and she's like, "You said that you'd get us in. You said that they accept refugees, no problem. Those were your words. It seems to me as though there's a problem."
Yep. And I don't know what that problem is yet, but we're gonna fix it.
You promised. You promised.
And I will hold my word, madam. We will get in.
As you guys are talking and kind of trying to figure out, is there anything that you want to do in this little slum area, or do you want to go around to the other side, maybe?
No. We just
Why?
want
Do you want the key over there?
I mean, it might be a different result. Probably
Yeah,
not.
they're gonna come back to this gate after they go to Colhita.
And by the time that we get all the way around to the other side, I mean that's.
Rav is curious if
Round
any
trip.
one of the. Oh, go ahead.
Go ahead. No, I'm good. You're fine.
Okay, Rav's curious if any of these refugees would be interested in founding a new town, going back to the destroyed city of Riverbend, and maybe rebuilding it better than it was before.
Okay. So as you kind of ask around, you get the sense that people are just scared. They've never seen, nobody's ever seen or even heard of any firestorm like what they witnessed, and the people that the Prapa citizens, by the time the storm got here, then it was just like this heat wave of smoke and ash, but like there wasn't fire this far out. But everybody, all the refugees are under the same, like, we have to get someplace that's safer, and this is that safe place.
Is this shantytown built all the way up to the walls, pretty much, or is there a space between where the gate is, and are there guards on this side?
Dragons never attack the same place twice.
The shantytown is set up pretty tight. They think that it's the closer they can get to one another, the safer that they'll be. And you can see that the guards have tried to keep people off of the wall, but they've had a difficult time in maintaining that. And so there's a little bit of space in between, and you do see some guards that are out, but most of the guards are up at the top. And go ahead and roll perception check.
24.
9.
16.
14.
So you guys, as you look up at the walls and you kind of are scanning the top of the walls, that you see right here around the shanty town that the guards on the top of the wall are thicker and more watchful. And so as opposed to having guards running throughout the shanty town, they're up on the wall keeping an eye out that way.
Gotcha.
So are these gatehouses set up with like a double or tertiary system where they let things through into a middle area and then through the next set?
Yeah. So there's two portcullises at the gate.
Okay.
And the guards were standing in between the two portcullises.
Okay.
But yeah, and so you'd they do that way for protection, but during times like this, you'd imagine that they open up the one portcullis, let the people that are supposed to be coming in close it, and then open up another one.
Okay.
You also notice that there were 2 doors, one on either side of that inner corridor section that you'd imagine go up towards the top of the wall. And so if one portcullis was opened and the guards got into trouble, then the guards at the top of the wall could very easily come down and help subside any trouble that happens in between the 2.
Okay. So with my perception, I also want to do a warfare lore check.
Okay.
Does this and I got jeez, I got 26 on that. Do they look set up for that they're actually looking for trouble to be happening? Like, are they set up for like actual things to be coming and assaulting the town, or what?
The guards.
Yeah.
So yeah,
Everything.
The guards are looking, and like just the way that things are set up, you see that they're following protocol.
Okay.
For the most part, but the protocol that they're following is set up for a siege on the city.
Protocol.
Does it look like that they're actually ready for that, or that they've been at it for a while, like so they're just like, this again, or is it that they're actively? It's even on the walls. Can you see that? Are they actively doing what they're supposed to, or is it more humdrum?
It's still pretty fresh. As you guys kind of went around, and you found out that they closed the gates maybe a week and a half ago. So originally they were letting refugees in, but then the stories started to go through Prapa, and of people turning to stone and this firestorm that came through.
Okay.
And so that's when they closed the gates. And so everybody that's still on the outside are like, you have to let us in.
Yeah.
But because it's still like fresh in their minds, it is the guards are still actively looking for trouble.
Okay.
Like they're not trying to create trouble, but they are on guard.
Okay. So with that, while I view it, I just tell all the guys, it looks like they're set up for a siege.
That's probably what they think is happening because they don't understand.
Yeah, so they're pretty active and alert. I don't think there's any spot at the moment because of how alert they are that we can find something.
I think we need to get to the council.
Well, I guess we don't have a choice until morning, though, so I don't know how safe I feel being around all these shanties, so I'd rather move outside of all this to wait out the night if that's what we're going to do.
We can move up to the hills to just kind of camp above. I think that would probably be the best.
Rav would like that a lot more, too.
Okay.
Third person again.
So you guys kind of agree to go up on the north side on that little ledge.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. As you guys are making your way through the shanty town towards that direction, you hear screams coming from just outside of the shanty town. And so if you look at the north side of the road, they're kind of coming from where it angles, where it tapers. Screams are kind of coming from that direction.
Geez, what now?
Are there any guards out this far?
No, all the guards are still over by the walls.
Are they showing any movement?
No. So you're far enough away from the walls.
Well, that would be like half a mile away.
Yeah, you're far enough away from the guards that it's like
they're not even hearing it.
Yeah. More than likely they're not hearing it.
Methinks it's time for some investigation.
Not by me. I got a 2 on my roll. So
Okay. 11.
They are screams.
Wait, what are we adding?
What are we adding?
I was just doing perception.
Oh, that's what I did.
12.
Rav?
If we want to do stealth and survival, I can do that, but
Rav got a 28.
Okay. So Rav quickly just zones right in on what the screaming is, and he knows he's heard this scream before. He's heard this before. It's Galadriel breaking her ankle. No, it's not. No, you can figure out like right where it's coming from, and you see that it's coming from the direction that you saw the caretaker of the cemetery going, and so you'd imagine that the cemetery is that way. And as you're portraying this information, then a woman comes through screaming something about how they're gone. They're gone. The bodies are all gone. And we'll pick it up there next week.
Oh man.
Okay.
Yeah. Welcome to Prapa. 1, 2,
Well,
3.
Not really. Just up at
D5?
Prapa.
Delta Cinco.
Proper edition.
Meow.
D5.
D5.